Hi there! I've been using this tool for a while, but I never thought to make a tutorial on it until now. I'm not really sure why, because Shtuka is an amazingly useful tool. It's a program that's tailor-made for recording tons of individual audio files very quickly. I think it was made for linguistics research and categorization, but it can be useful for lots of different things. It's how we record all of the audio for our Refold Anki decks. And by the way, we're working on several new decks, so no matter when you're watching this video, go check out refold.la/decks to see what we have available. Like I said, Shtuka is made for recording hundreds of individual audio files very quickly. This is what it looks like in use.
Primero, los perros tienen una capacidad innata para el entrenamiento, lo que significa que pueden aprender una variedad de comandos.
Let's learn how you can install and use it. First, head to this page. If you Google Shtuka Recorder, it's actually not the first result. Make sure that you find the page that looks like this and then download the program. Then you can run through the regular installation process by double-clicking on the file and following the on-screen instructions. It's actually going to install a few different programs, Recorder, Explorer, and Repeat, but I don't even know what the last two do, so you can just ignore them. The Recorder is what we want. When you open it up, it's going to look very retro, but it works great. There are just a few things I want to show you before you start making silly noises into your microphone. This front page is where the most important thing is, your word list. You can copy and paste or just write out the words here. Each new word should be on a new line, since you don't actually need to do just words. Sentences and phrases work great as well. I find it easiest to do everything in a spreadsheet and then copy and paste over into this box. I've put up to 1,000 words at once, but that can slow down the program. A few hundred at a time should be more than enough for a single sitting. If you want, you can change the language up here. This is actually just some extra metadata for the file that's generated. It doesn't affect anything at all in the recording. The silence between words also doesn't really matter, but it gives you a little more buffer when recording. I like to keep it at 1. The speaker tab is more metadata. I've never filled this in, but if I were to record something for another company or project, I might fill it out. If you want to document your own dialect in some way, maybe you should use this, but that's its only purpose. The output tab is actually the most important. It's where you tell the program where and how to save your files. Make sure you select a place that you can find easily. That's this target box. And then the mask is what you want to name the files. Obviously, you don't want them all to be named the exact same, and you probably want a little more information than just the title, so with a little prep, the program does that all for you. For the Refold decks, we use the deck name and then put either word or sentence at the end, and then you put str somewhere. The program knows to replace that with the word you're recording. If you can maybe see here, my current settings will save as br1k testing _word.og. It replaces %str. But if you have a whole sentence, you don't want to have that be the file name, so you can add a semicolon after and a filler word. Let me show you. If I add this sentence here, and then I add a semicolon, I'm able to use the word after the semicolon as the file name. Instead of %str, you do %1, which stands for the first variable. Again, this is much easier to do in a spreadsheet first because it's a lot more automatic. These checkboxes are the last thing we do before we start recording. I recommend you keep the bottom two checked and either the .og or .flac one checked. You need at least one or to keep the .wav files, but they're so much bigger and FLAC works just fine for 99% of everybody. Okay, let's go back to the main tab and hit continue. Ooh, now we have some more stuff. This top window is where the words will be, as well as some other controls. The bottom window is what the program is hearing. So if your mic is hooked up, whenever you make noises, you'll see some shapes. Let's check the recording settings real quick. Again, I like the defaults here, but you can tweak things if something isn't quite working. I'm not going to cover them since they're a bit confusing and I don't even fully understand it, but if things sound weird, try tweaking some of the margin settings or the starting threshold. Oh, and if your mic isn't being auto-detected, you might need to open your sound control panel and change things there. Now, when you're ready to record, press space or this little red dot. What happens now is that the program is listening for when you start speaking to actually start saving the audio. You can tell because the waveform is moving, and whenever you finish, it'll save the file to the folder you specified. This is why I recommend having it open during recording. You're able to see it working and can listen back to your files without going anywhere. If you ever want to re-record something, you can use the arrow keys to navigate between things or just actually click on them. But be careful though, it will overwrite anything it re-records. So if you go back a few, then be sure to go back to where you want to continue. And I do recommend listening to the recordings, especially the first 5 to 10. If you're going to be making hundreds or even thousands of files, checking to make sure that things sound okay is important. What if the program is using the wrong mic? Or what if things are getting cut off too early? Things usually go fine, but it's really worth checking. Also, keep an eye on the graph and what word you're supposed to be recording. If things are too loud, it actually won't save the file, so you have to do it again. It's pretty intuitive once you've used it for a few minutes, but I wanted to warn you. And then to finish recording, you just press space or the red dot again, or it'll automatically stop after you finish all the words. That's how I recommend doing it, since you'll never lose your spot in your list. And now you have all the audio files to do whatever you want with. One of the obvious things is to make an Anki deck for priming words, but there are plenty of other things you can do as well. The idea that I think is most useful for most people is to use this to record passages in chunks. That way you can listen to each line one at a time. It makes it easier to analyze and learn from, and you can share it with a tutor. They can listen to one line several times or even use this tutorial to re-record it themselves, and then you can use that. Plus, the ability to redo lines is really useful because you will mess up. So knowing exactly what to say is great for your mental energy. What I do is find a suitable passage, ask ChatGPT to split it up by line, input it into this spreadsheet, link down below, and then paste it into Stuka and record. I also made the date part of the file name so that you can use the same passage every few months and hear your speaking progress. Well, that's all I wanted to do for this video. Nice and simple, just sharing the tool. I hope that you find it useful and try out the tool for yourself. If you think of any great ideas on how to use the audio, let us know down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to leave a like. I'll see you in the next video. Happy immersing. Hey, as you know, there's a lot of language learning advice out there, which can make it kind of overwhelming and difficult to actually get going on your own learning. If you feel like you're struggling to figure out language learning, you're not alone. It's an extremely complicated process with tons of different steps. If you're looking for a step-by-step guide to create the perfect language learning routine for you, then you have to check out our new course. We spent thousands of hours designing a simple and straightforward process that you can use to create your own personalized language routine that actually works. We understand that every learner is different and that you have to roll with the punches and adapt. Every day for 30 days, I walk you through everything you need to know to build an effective learning routine, no matter your circumstances. We give you the advice and resources you need to ensure your success, so you don't have to waste time looking for stuff to do and can focus on learning. And if any questions do come up, don't worry. We are always there to answer any questions and clear up confusion. And it's all backed by our 90-day, no questions asked, money-back guarantee. If, for whatever reason, something's not quite working for you, we insist you get every penny back. It's time for you to stop wishing that you could learn a second language. It's time to become the master of your language learning journey. Check out the link below to get instant access and start your journey today.